Unscripted.
You know, it's funny because when I mentioned the fact that basically Phil Spencer and Microsoft treat Xbox as a third-party app and that they really want to be a third-party company in terms of what they offer gaming-wise, it's very easy to see that that's 100% true. And now we have the confirmation, basically. And you know what? A lot of people, like a lot of Xbox fans, will play this off and play it down like it's not a big deal or whatever. But the fact of the matter is, it's a huge deal. It's a very huge deal. And the reason why is because it even though some people probably make an excuse, it does actually make the Xbox console less viable, it gives it less reason to actually own one. And I think that at the end of the day, that's a big reason why Xbox will probably continue to falter. I know a lot of people go, well, it's sold out, it's this, it's that, but there's already proof to believe that the PS5 is outselling it 2-1 already. And it just goes to show you that, Microsoft is very much out of touch with, what gamers are wanting and what he wants, right? It's all a business, and I get that, but it's like, did you ever notice when pushed about the Bethesda deal, right? When they pushed people about the Bethesda deal, right? What do they say? Oh, well, Bethesda games will be everywhere that, Game Pass is. That's his little out. That's his loophole, folks. Like, you guys want to know why I call him, a huckster and this kind of stuff? It's because you can see it coming a mile away. He 100% wants his games, Xbox games, quote unquote, on every platform, including PlayStation, including Switch, everywhere, right? He just does. He wants it. And now we have definitive proof of this. So, what's interesting is this sort of came out and leaked yesterday, and I find this to be very interesting. So, again, this is something that is no longer taken with a grain of salt. This is 100% legit. So, Xbox boss wants to bring xCloud and Game Pass to competing consoles. Phil Spencer is looking for ways to expand the reach of the console and its services, and according to this, he wants some drastic changes. According to this report about an alleged email between the Xbox head Phil Spencer and Epic Games CEO Tim Sweeney, in which Spencer is apparently looking to bring xCloud and Game Pass services to other competing platforms. Spencer himself has very high ambitions for cloud-based gaming, seeing his company as a spearhead in the movement. The information comes after leaks suggested that a lot of Xbox services are coming to Nintendo Switch, as reported by IGN. But for now, it is only xCloud, which is running without a hitch on PC and Android. I wouldn't say without a hitch, by the way. I have 30 down and I can't run it. So it's also worth noting that some users have gotten it to run on iOS using a web browser workaround. It's very interesting to see that this is actually coming. That people actually, first of all, I want to point out that I personally don't think that cloud gaming will take off. If you look at what's going on with Stadia, by the way, it's a complete mess. The person that created it, or whatever, the head of State, just quit. They closed down all their studios, canceled all their exclusives. Luna, like, whenever I've seen a Luna advertisement, like on Instagram or whatever, and you check the comments, there's literally no comments for this stuff. And it, like, again, I just don't think it's a very popular thing. I think that's probably part of the reason why Microsoft bundled this in with, Game Pass. That way, one, we never really know the actual numbers because they moved the app. When the Game Pass, when xCloud was its own app, it had 1 million downloads, right? Even after, after a year plus on the market or whatever availability, and anybody can sign up and become a member, by the way. And they moved it into the Game Pass app because there's over 5 million downloads on that, and so it just really kind of keeps you guessing. But I can assure you there's no 5 million people playing xCloud. They're just not doing it. The hardcore fans are hyping up a 4K machine that's doing 120 frames and HDR and all this kind of stuff and VRR, and I assure you that the phones are not doing that. And when it comes to this, I think that it's very interesting that so many people would just probably go, well, if I want to play the best version, I have to do this, this, or this, right? Like, you can't hype up xCloud as something great and then say that it's not great, and if you want this experience, you got to get the console or whatever. Look, I'm telling you, if they could bring Game Pass natively to other consoles, 100% they would. And this is the direct contradiction, because 10 months ago, Phil Spencer said Xbox Game Pass likely won't come to other consoles. In a new interview with GameStar, this was last year, Spencer discussed the company's long-held goal to make its games and services more available. He said it's about players making choices, gamers making choices. It's not really just offering choices for choice's sake, but rather offering gamers the ability to choose how they want to experience our platform and our games. The thing about other gaming platform consoles is that we're not able to bring the full Xbox experience on those platforms. In places where we have, like mobile phones, and where we're doing now with xCloud coming to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate for no extra charge, which we think is a great value to allow people to go play on the go. And what we've done with PC and bringing our full Xbox experience there, because we know that when somebody's playing our Xbox games, there's an expectation that I've got my Xbox Live community, I have my achievements, Game Pass is an option, my first-party library is completely there, and the other competitive platforms aren't really that interested in having a full Xbox experience on their hardware. But for us, we want to be where gamers want to be, and that's a path that we're on. So, again, it says Spencer's comments feel like a follow-up to the company's previous efforts to work more closely with Nintendo in particular. Microsoft brought first-party titles like Cuphead and Ori and the Blind Forest to the Switch, and Nintendo opened cross-platform multiplayer with Xbox-owned games like Minecraft. Rather than give and take, this was more of a friendly collaboration between two competitors who aren't quite as on edge with one another as Xbox and PlayStation. So again, he's basically kind of making it clear that he would love to have, all his games on every platform, PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, and the like. But the fact of the matter is, he can't really do that, because they would want the full Xbox experience. Basically, I don't see, to be honest with you, how Nintendo. I know people go. First of all, I don't think Sony would ever in a million years allow this, because how would this work for them when the third party stuff, they get a full 30% cut? I just don't think that there's enough money wiggle room in there for them to want to bring that onto their platform. But even with that being said, even Nintendo, I don't see what Nintendo would get out of this, because the third party stuff, again, they get a 30% take of whoever buys stuff. Now, the more graphically intensive stuff, I guess, perhaps, but again, you're talking about not natively, and there's already games that are streaming and streamable on the Nintendo Switch platform, and people don't do it. I mean, they just, honestly, you never hear anything about it. They come out like Control. You can stream that on your Switch, but nobody does. And I don't think it's as big a deal as people think. Yes, like if they could bring in stuff natively to the Switch, I think it'd be a big deal. But just streaming it, I don't look at it as a huge deal. But I do look at this as, just another step in the direction, just to see how this goes. I would love to know, where this ends. And so many people just look at me and they're, and say stuff like, oh, well, you know what, it's this or this, and it's got to be this way, or we love Phil Spencer, and to me, I just don't look at it like that. I think that Phil Spencer is a guy who doesn't really belong in like he doesn't treat Xbox like a big first party type situation, right? He really just treats it like, everybody should be able to play everything, and I just disagree with that. There's literally no point in multiple console ownership if you could just play all the same stuff on, on everything. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me whatsoever, and, I think that it's a little bit ridiculous that people are just now starting to understand where I was coming from with this, you know what I mean? And it is unfortunate, but I think this is just the way it's going to go. If you're like an Xbox fan, I think you're just going to have to deal with the fact that this is what Microsoft wants. They want to be everywhere, and the thing is, what we've learned from the Epic Games leaks is you can be everywhere. You could be on PC and mobile and still not make the money that you would make from your console people. PlayStation makes up 50% of Fortnite revenue. Think about that. 50%. More than I think more than PC and mobile combined for sure. And well, definitely more than Xbox, but it's just very interesting to see how this kind of works out and how people kind of react to this stuff. And again, where does the line draw? Like, if you're an Xbox fan, you just keep letting that line push you around. Like, to where you have no exclusives, and you have to understand, right? Like, I don't understand why Xbox fans refuse to understand this. The end goal is no game ownership, streaming only. Okay, he can sit there and go, well, no, it's an option, but don't kid yourself into believing it's not all about Xbox being turned into an app on everything. And that's what they want. They want you to be able to stream games on everything. And, who knows where it stops. It could stop at, they want you to be able to maybe download them next. Maybe the new Switch Pro or whatever will allow you to be able to download stuff. I don't know. But that definitely takes away from the Xbox itself. It makes it pretty irrelevant. And, if you didn't already believe that they don't really care much about the box itself, then just look at their launch lineup. Look at the fact that they haven't had a game, a AAA, in 605 days. That tells you everything you need to know about what they feel about their console. They don't care. It's all about Game Pass, shoving a bunch of crappy games in there, and trying and just going from that. And to me, I find it to be utterly ridiculous. But hey, don't take my word for it. I'm gonna link this. Let me know what you guys think. Are you guys pissed about this? Sound off, rate, comment, subscribe, rack 'em up. Crapgamer out.
Unscripted.